Brothers and sisters, we're here tonight to gather together. Praise! Yes, let me hear it. We're going to see the artwork, the sacred, sexy S&M artwork of Joe Shuster. Can I hear an amen? All right, brothers and sisters, does it make you tremble? Does it make you excited? Does it make you thrilled with desire? The artwork of Superman's creator, Joe Shuster, because it sure did me when I found it in a bookstore not too far from here and bought a booklet that I said to myself, oh my God, Joe Shuster! Man, please put your top back on. I don't want you to be like this lady and get arrested. So this is Joe Shuster. And this is shortly after he sold Superman for $130. Actually, he got half that because his writer partner, Jerry Siegel, another geek, they were the original geeks, they sold Superman for $130, but they were really quite happy for about 10 years, probably earning about $1 million a piece for about 10 years. They really did quite well, even though DC Comics got all the rights. But they wanted more, and they were bugged by the publisher getting many more millions than themselves. So they tried to sue to get Superman back. In 1948, lost the court case miserably, and became persona non grata in the comic book industry. So Joe, after a few years of hard times being an errand boy and sweeping up in grocery stores, fell in with some people who encouraged him to put together these booklets of S&M sexuality, and these were published by a guy in Times Square through his bookshops and sold under the counter for $3, which is a lot of money back then when you compare it to a 10-cent comic book. But Joe was doing this material and became an erotic artist. After doing Superman, which was Truth, Justice, and the American stood for Truth, Justice, and American Way, he started drawing sexy girls in sexy, compromising poses. And I'm going to show you some of those tonight. Can I hear an amen? Amen! So these booklets were called Nights of Horror, and this is a cover of number 13. This girl 13 had an unlucky spell or lucky spell, depending on your own point of view. Rachel's giggling, and how she feels about that illustration. What do you think about this one, though, Rachel? And this is the first volume. There were 16 altogether before the Supreme Court cracked down. They actually put 80 detectives on the case to try to find out who was behind this. And, they did put the publisher in jail for 3 years, but they never connected the crimes of doing these booklets to Joe Shuster. Another one. Wow. And yet another. And finally, this is one of my favorite stories. The Bride Wore Leather. Any of you June brides coming out here, you might consider that. And that story was by Ted Rand. Many of the characters look like people that we might know from the city of Metropolis. So you see people like Superman, Lois, Jimmy Olsen smoking a reefer here. And yes, Lex Luthor, can I hear some boos? All right.
Hiss.
Boo and hiss. And so as we go through some of these slides, maybe you'll recognize some of the characters.
Superman.
You know, this probably looks worse than it really is, because after all, Superman had buns of steel. Joe was probably in a hurry. You might notice something else as you go through these, besides the lookalikes. Joe seemed to maybe been in kind of a hurry when he drew some of these, and there's often limbs missing, like, where's Lois's leg anyway? Yeah. Unless it's somewhere where it really shouldn't be. Lois found herself in times of trouble, sometimes too. Included villains, syringes, but they're not all bad. They did keep her panties on.
Wow.
If you don't play with me willingly, I have some fun with you without your consent. I don't know who's talking here. We just know that's the captain. Thwack. Good comic book sound. Thwack. Have any of you ever had sex and you heard the word thwack? The sound of the blow resounded in the room.
She has Betty Boop's shoes on.
She has Betty Boop's shoes, you're right. She sort of looks like Lana Lang, Lois's cousin. Speaking of Lana Lang, her and Jimmy Olsen here.
Wow.
She's turned around to a little reefer madness. Puff it in a few minutes, you'll feel wonderful. And you'll also be feeling something else of mine, girl. 3 beauties for sale. Do I hear a bid? Let's start at $10. $10. 20, 20, 20.
10 cents.
Oh my goodness, everybody's a critic. This is, when I was deciding which illustrations, I didn't use all of ones when I wished to put in. First of all, I didn't want to put this in at all. I was kind of repulsed, but now it's my favorite illustration. I guess pornography does kind of corrupt you and make you desensitized. These guys are, the red ants bit and ripped where the honey had been smeared.
Wow.
So, if you don't have honey at home, I've found maple syrup works just as good. Lay still, honey. Speaking of honey, it's only Rod. So subtle, right? It's only Rod. He won't hurt you. He's going to make you feel good, just like I did. Get in line.
Wow.
Her bloodlust at a peak. She directed the blade towards the throat. It's pretty. These were Knights of War, some of them. I think this one's good because to me it reminds me of some guy sitting at home watching TV. There's a little beer there, and
So good.
probably on the other hand you can't see it, but there's probably a channel changer.
I don't think that's what it is.
Achy gloated at Anne's agony.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
if honey wasn't enough. This is cactus, or is that cacti?
Cacti.
I began to put it on the naked skin of the lush beauty beneath me. So if you think you've tried it all after 20 years of the same cock, maybe this will give you some ideas for tonight. Or this is my idea of a good time, at least watching. Anne squirmed at the thrill that coursed through her.
Ooh.
Lois and Lana Lang, like we've never seen them before. But always kind of imagine between those panels, you know, the comic thing. What happened between the panels? This is it.
Invisible ink.
Shock and gathering lust was on Bert's face. He started towards her. You can only imagine what happened next. Probably something to do with honey and red ants and cactuses. This is my wife's favorite picture. I think it's sick and depraved. That is just repulsive. She wanted me for her servant, her slave. The drugs stimulated their jaded appetite. So even back then, in the 50s, when they smoked dope, they got the munchies. With both hands, he slapped and cuffed the soft whiteness.